Yeah, boss, we got big problems. You better call that robot, that spot show. It's that spot bot. Anybody got 20 on that spot bot? ETA ASAP. Over.
Morning all. Truck. Gotta go out and move some one buffer tank. Probably have to move that heater again too. Today, the radio claims it feels more like -18. Sometimes I'd like to slap that guy. It's not even any wind, so how does it? It's just guesstimating. It feels like -18. Like, shut up. Stay tuned. Oh, you want to work out in the winter? Use summer grease on your winch, and for the winter. It took me probably a good 5 minutes to pull that back to the end of the trailer. Yeah. So the problem with, not that it's a bad thing, it's kind of a pain in the ass because you can't grease it in the shop when you're in the shop because the grease nipple is underneath all the winch line. So you got to spool out until you're down to like 3 wraps, and then you can grease it. That's a huge pain in my ass, because I'm used to like a Braden. And even this is a Tulsa too, so some Tulsas, I've had 3 different Tulsas and they've all had 3 different styles of grease nipples. That the other Texas bed, the T800, that one was sweet. It had 2 nipples right on the side where the dogs were that were out. Literally just on one of the keyways where the dogs fit in, 2 nipples. That was it. That was perfect, because the Braden, I always had to dig for the nipple inside by the gear or behind where the dogs would go in, and then it would be full of grease. You had to find the sweet spot, kick your dogs out, roll them ahead, and then get in there. Life struggles of being a winch hand. I gotta get summer grease in there, or I gotta get that remote, one of the two. But yeah, I came over, we got the double, I keep calling it the double drop. Trombone, swept her off. Just gonna roll ahead here a bit, get out of the snow. It's been sitting for a while. I gotta check the tires, and then we'll go load the supersized tank. It's just a big square box with valves on it. It's a Titan tank. You might have seen it in some of the videos last year. Doing the same stuff, same area. Maybe just a touch too far? That's sucking. These rolls are garbage on this trombone. I'm gonna take off my mud flaps. They won't lift enough. I'm too far out. Fuck. Well, fuck around with it some more. Alright, desperate measures now. I have the deck off, come to the back. The number one thing I notice at this Cypress is these fucking deck pins. No need for them to be a foot long. Fuck my whole morning. As soon as I give up, I'm like, okay, one more shot, sucker back up of the point of no return, and it worked this time. Like, look at all the mud. Can't even drive down the highway like that. I'm gonna just pull it out a little bit this time. Don't fuck it up. The worst trombone experience I've ever had. She beat me up today. Oh, that's the wrong tank. Boom. Yeah, this trombone is not my favorite. And then these guys like, yeah, just pick it up there. Should only take you half an hour to load. Don't worry about everybody else's safety. Like, there's like baseball sized freaking rocks on this thing. And it's skid that way, skid that way. So it's not like it's just clean one skid and away you go. Sometimes I hate it that I care so much. I'm gonna go into zero mode. Still care about other people's safety on the highway. I don't want to be that guy. Which, if this is the same one we brought back, that means somebody else is one of those guys. Lowrider. Alright, I'm going to chain it down. Get going. I need to be leaving right now, so I'm going to be late. Well, that did not go as planned. That was super ultra gay. Uber gay. Now I gotta fend for the traffic circle 3/4 ways around. I did this Titan tank before from here, so I think we must be good. I think. not even Monday. Oh. There's another one. This one's a little bit tighter, but they didn't make the curve as aggressive. You people aren't signaling. I'm gonna use my signal. Signal to exit? Yeah. was 100% unenjoyable loading experience. And it looks like the weather is getting real good too, which doesn't bother me, but what does bother me is everybody else that drives on the road. The radio didn't say anything about this morning. So yeah, they give me these wide load mirrors. It's got like maybe a 6-inch tube on it. Like I can't even see past the stairs. Like, I guess you don't know what wide load mirrors? If it falls out. I tightened it good too, because the other day I almost lost it. I had to stop right here, take it out. Better stay. I'd be so mad if I can't stop. Then where am I gonna stop? There's only like a few places to stop along this highway out to Rocky if you have issues that you need to stop. So yeah. So reiterate, loading. I overstretched, which I didn't think that was going to be an issue, but I guess this trailer is a touch longer than that thing. And thus doing, overstretching, caught the deck pin, which is ridiculous. Not my own deck pin, they're all in the trailer already, but yeah, it had like a freaking 5-inch head on the deck pin, which caught the ear, which allowed me not to be able to shake it back or trombone. Just spinned out, which is super frustrating. No way to really to reverse that, besides I had to deck off. And I was lucky that I could get my load sling out from the front, just barely, and then grab it by the back. I could have doubled up with chains. I've done worse before. And pretty much bumper up to it on the back and lift it up and just pulled it. Actually, I lifted it and pulled it over just enough so it was off that deck pin. And then I'm like, well, I better go an extra foot or two. And then I was just kind of lifting up, had all the weight on the truck, give a little run, and then to the point where I would spin out and it would pull it like a couple inches. And then it was like, oh, and then I had this horrible thought. I'm like, what if I'm just bending the legs on the front of the trailer? But I didn't. The boss is always worried about his legs. I guess the Jerry's can't handle the weight, I guess. I don't know. I've never had a problem with my Doppler. Like, I deck off, we load 400 barrel tanks, which are not that heavy, and I will winch away from the trailer at angles so I can straighten out the tank. And I've never tweaked the legs yet. I hope I don't, because having bent legs sucks. But we've had Jerry's in the shops that have issues, so. Or I pulled a few that were like super tight, hard to put up. Get a hammer. But yeah, yep. All right, well, we're gonna drive out there. Maybe I'll do a little bit of time lapsing on that, and yeah, I'll just show the unloading because I gotta move that heater and all that crap again, and I'm already late, so. And there's already probably like 3 videos of that amongst some other stuff, so I'm just gonna go ahead and maybe do a little more video stuff, talking, explaining during this trip, and then cut out on the boredom of showing you guys the same thing again for like, I don't even know. This is probably the 5th or 6th time I've moved the heaters. I've already been out there twice again. That I didn't video it because, you know, it's the same thing. I'm just gonna move the heater and it's just hard. I'm like, how do I make something awesome 4 times in a row? You can't. Petered out. The views are going down. My channel's sinking. Actually, that's a lie. Subscriptions are actually up. People are subscribing, which is cool, but watch time is not. My watch time and my revenue is going. So I don't know. Maybe it's just the stuff I'm posting. Maybe it's because it's. Who knows? Everybody's going back to work. You guys aren't sitting at home watching TV. I know when I try to watch YouTube, I get mad because I'm like, there's not enough stuff to watch. And it keeps showing me the same stuff I watched 5 years ago. I'm like, not interested. And then next week it'll show it to me again. Which, why isn't it doing it on my channel? Checked out, did a bunch of truck channel researching yesterday, and there's just so many. Man, I don't want to hate on other people that are doing it, but I'm like, man, I feel like I'm giving 200% and they're giving like 40. That's how I feel anyways. But each to their own, and I don't want to hate on other truckers that are doing channels. Like, I love the guys that are doing restoration stuff. That's awesome. I watch that stuff all the time. It's just a little bit of a different watch. Alright, stay tuned. We'll go out, we'll hate life, maybe we'll roll something or blow something up, and I'll be back. Well, we arrived alive, and lease entrance is blocked by somebody gray that does fracking. It's a sandhog. It's like most popular thing to do is show up, park at the lease entrance. Who's most important? Step is nobody else has anything else here to do but to wait. I'm already 20 minutes late. He's just sitting in his truck. Step push had to come out and yell, pull on to the location. No kidding. We're just all waiting. You just stay there. This guy in front of me. No, he stops. Oh, oh, everybody else. Some people, I tell you, you're blocking the entrance. Some people's kids, I tell ya. all done. Noticed I messed up. I put some deck pins down when I was struggling and ended up with not one hole, 2 holes. Totally noobed out here. Well, the pin was good. It was probably on the cross member. Yeah, right there, but it must have rolled. Looks like it turned and then punched a hole. I feel bad about that. I hate it when stuff like that happens. So yeah. After I dumped that Titan tank, you see I struggled quite a bit to get the pins out there too. I was just skidding the trailer all over the place. Usually you got to get out with a hammer, and I was about to do that, and then they came out on their own. So, I've used this trombone probably 3 times maybe, and it's been nothing but struggles for me. I don't know what it is with this thing. Kind of had a similar one at Road Train. Actually, it was super short and it didn't even have any rolls. So once I unloaded that Titan tank, I had to go over. We moved the heater again, the fuel skid, the bathroom, and then he's like, "Oh, I forgot to call the Centeris guys for the." We had 2 nitrogen trailers. So I had to move those. And then, funny thing about those nitrogen trailers, like, tried to leave the back doors open because we were just going right across the lease to the other C-ring. And I was all hooked up. I was like, man, the brakes aren't coming off. I'm like, don't tell me they're all frozen. I checked everything out. Even gave him a couple hits with the hammer. I'm like, no, they're not frozen. You know, walking around. And then I noticed this little push button on the where the door would be when it closed. I climbed up there, pushed on that button, and it brakes released. I'm like, oh man. At that point, the consultant came over. He's like, what's going on here? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I just couldn't move it. I was struggling here. So I got out and checked it out, and I noticed you gotta shut the doors. You can't move it without shutting the doors. Lessons learned. So yeah, we got all that stuff spotted. And yeah. Minus the 2 holes and the loading fiasco. Everything went alright. Had the picker out there. He brought out the anchor blocks and some I can't remember what if that's a lubricator or not, but some other wellhead stuff for the coil. So return to base, and I guess I gotta have the phone on me. I put 2 holes in the trombone. Maybe I can get in the shop, fix it quick. Or maybe he'll just be like, no, just park it. Take it back to the yard, park it there, and mechanics will fix it. Which, not what I normally like to do when I wreck stuff like that. I've replaced a lot of wood and a lot of trailers over the years. But I think there's stuff in the shop right now, so I probably won't be able to do that. With that tank, I was gonna look inside. It must have been pretty full with ice because I was over on everything, and usually it should be good. So those have been sitting there since we took them back there probably last year in the spring. So yeah, they sat there all summer. Guarantee you there's ice in them. But what do you do? Came out, didn't see a whole lot more than a whole 85 kilometers an hour all the way out, except for when I went downhill. Got her wound up, and yeah, Susie had a bit of an incline. It was just frustrating. It's gonna be a problem for a while. If I get out in the mountains and I'm not gonna be able to run anything, it's gonna be nothing but tire chains and a slow roar up hillsides. I'm so used to just bombing the hills, and it go fast down one side and fast up the other side just enough you don't get yourself into a pinch. Pretty much now it's gonna be fast to the bottom of the hill, and it's gonna just come to a complete perch, and it's gonna be a climb. Wow, I guess once point out, it's gonna take me an extra so many hours per job. Maybe we'll see if we can turn it up somehow. If it's even possible. Sure, it's possible with everything, but it just costs more money because everything runs off the cam on this one. So the fuel pump runs off the cam, dual overhead cam. So upgrade the injectors. More fuel. I don't know if you have to do anything with turboing then. Never had this style of engine, so don't know anything about it. So used to all the other ones, you just delete and turn her up 25%, 50% and good to go. But the mechanic was explaining to me it's not the case with this one. Not as easy as just plugging in a computer and beep boop 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 boop. There you go, 100 horsepower. Alright, back to the shop and we'll see you guys there.
Hello, doctor.
You here for your annual checkup?
Yes.
Good, good. Before we get started, how's everything been?
You know, I'm still married, so pretty shitty.
Oh, you know what they say. Secret to a happy marriage remains a secret.
Oh. That doesn't help me at all.
Brunch time.
Uma ameaça foi detectada. Uma ameaça foi detectada.